Okay, I'm going to show how to do an assignment with kind of team grading capabilities. Specific question asked about having 3 graders. I'm going to do just 2 for the concept here. So I'm going to start by adding an assignment, and I'm going to call this team grading assignment. I'm going to call it 3 because I already have a couple other ones. And I'm going to do a couple things. First of all, I'm going to make it worth 200 points because I'm going to have 2 graders, each grading out of 100. And for display grade as, I'm going to display it as a percentage. Because again, the question kind of talked about it in a percentage grade. And we'll make it be a text entry type grade online. And that is set to go. So let me save and publish that. I'm going to do one more thing now, and this is the key. I'm going to make a rubric that's going to be used for grading. So I'm going to go to Add Rubric, and I'm going to have 2 pieces of criteria for each of the graders. So I'll call the first one Grader 1. I'll add another piece of criteria called Grader 2. This also you could actually have be the name of the teachers doing the grading possibly, Dr. Smith, Dr. Jones, whatever the case may be. But the key is to have a piece of criteria for each grader. And we'll make each worth 100 points. Now, you could even work this out even further. If each grader has 4 pieces of criteria, I could make 8 pieces of criteria here. The first 4 for the first grader, the second 4 for the second grader. But I'm doing this a little more simple, where simply the first grader has that full 100 points they're going to grade out of. I'm going to change this to all write freeform comments, so I don't have that grading scale. And so we're simply going to put a grade in. And then last, I'm going to check the box to use this rubric for assignment grading, and we'll see why in a minute. I'll kind of talk about that. So there my rubrics created, and now I'm going to become a test student and submit that assignment. So let me just go there real quick, student view, go to my assignments, and it was number 3, and I don't really care what I'm putting in here, so we're just going to submit and put in blah. Okay, so the assignment's been graded. By the way, the student can already see that there's going to be 2 graders here for the criteria, so they actually know how that's going to be graded through the rubric. So let me leave student view, and now as that first grader, the person who actually created the assignment, I'll go to speed grader, and here is the submission. I'm going to view the rubric. And since I'm designated as grader 1, I'll put my grade in of 90. And I can also put my comments about it. Nicely done. And I'm not going to grade grader 2. I'm only putting my grade for my points out of 100. So you could say it's a 90%. So we'll save that. Now here's the drawback with checking that last box in the rubric. While only 1 grader's in there, the overall grade is showing as a 45 out of 200. So the students might freak out right now if they see that. But just bear with me. I'm going to switch to a different browser window now. And this one, I'm logged in as another instructor within this course. Let me just refresh my page so we see that assignment. So here is that assignment. And now I'm going in as the second instructor, and I go to speed grader. And we're going to see, if I go to test student, I can see that the rubric's already been half filled out. I can click view rubric and put in my grade. Okay, and again, I have my own area for comments. Notice it has now added those up to 170 out of 200. And when I save that, it is showing 170 out of 200. And this 85 is actually the grade, the percentage of that grade. And if you would think 80 and 90%, the average of that would be an 85. And sure enough, we're seeing 85 there because I said in the gradebook to display it as percentage. So there we go. We've done that. Let me do one more thing then. Let me jump back to my other window. And there it is. Let me go back and do the student view again. So what a student would see, they can see that they get an 85 on that assignment. If they get more details, they can go there and see 85, which was 170 out of 200 points. Okay? One last thing I want to just point out. If the whole notion of it freaking out your students when only one or two, not all the grades are in there yet, and they see that low grade because only part of it's there, you have two things you can do with that. First of all, on the rubric itself, if you don't want it to grade it, if you uncheck this box, it's still going to total those points out of 200, but you'd have to have the last grader actually take that final points and type it into the grade. That way it's going to prevent the student from getting notifications saying they were getting like a 30% or something like that. Or the other option, I actually kind of like this one better, is to mute the assignment until all the grading's done. So if you don't know how to do that, if we go to our grades area here, this is where I think the easiest place is. For my grades view, I'll let it load here for a minute. Eventually. Well, what I'm going to show you is when the grades actually come up here in the top column, if you click on the little triangle next to the name of the assignment, one of the options is to mute the assignment. And when you mute the assignment, students cannot see that grade. They don't get any notifications about grades, anything like that, until you unmute it. So a trick is you mute that until all three graders are done grading all the students' assignments. Only then do you unmute it, so they only see their grade when all three graders have put that grade in. Hope that helps.